Hi, welcome to this week's With Liberty and Justice for Some. I'm Congressman Mark Pocan. I think our podcast today might be the one I've looked the most forward to. We are going to talk to someone who is the most decent person I have met in politics, an unassuming, maybe even reluctant politician. He spent 5 decades trying to make people's lives better, particularly in education as a teacher, a superintendent of a school district, the state superintendent of schools, and currently as the governor of the great state of Wisconsin. And being a governor is a huge job. It takes having a solid moral compass, a plan to get things done, and the ability to work with people that you may not agree with at all. And in a purple state like Wisconsin, where people often win by a point or two, it's an exponential ratio of all those aforementioned qualities. And I want to add personally, I'm really going to miss Tony Evers as governor. Watching him and his wife Kathy together reminded me so often of how my parents were, high school sweethearts who spent their lives together. And values and sacrifice is what they put in to make other people's lives better rather than any financial advantage. With us today for our one question is Hutch Hutchins, who is the executive director at the Equality Federation, which is a coalition across the country of over 40 states, LGBTQI plus groups doing great work fighting for equality with lots of victories at the local and state level. While we're seeing all this darkness federally, we're having some light, right, Hutch?
We are.
Great. Well, thanks for being with us. My question for you today is if you could change any one federal law, you had the ability, it would just happen because you declared it. What would that one law be and why?
It would be universal health care. We would have
Yeah.
a not just a public option, we would just have universal health care like most other developed countries in the world.
Yeah. In fact, I believe we are the only industrialized nation that does not have universal health care right now.
It's discouraging, but yes, that's the one that I would pick. And specifically from an LGBTQ plus perspective, we face unique health disparities. We have higher rates of mental health challenges, HIV, substance abuse, barriers to healthcare for trans folks. And the Trump administration has not improved that
Yeah.
situation. We've seen a number of cuts to Medicaid funding, to healthcare access, and that just really highlights the brokenness of our current system. Because there should be no mechanism by which we deny certain people certain types of care. That is not the way healthcare should work,
Mhm.
and it should not be a political issue. We've got a ton of folks in our community who are under or uninsured, and we know that they are missing out on life-saving care. And I'm not just talking about gender-affirming care or healthcare for trans youth. I'm talking about other types of care that we're less likely to receive.
Mhm.
Specifically around cancer care, substance abuse, smoking cessation, all of these, because of the health disparities, we're less likely to access these. And with universal care, we would end up with the option for everyone to actually receive basic medical care. It is. I can't understand at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
our system is so complicated. We have to work with insurance companies, we have to work with the government, we have to work
Mhm.
with, pharmaceutical companies, and we don't have health equity. And this would be something that would absolutely change the game, not just for LGBTQ folks, but for folks across the board.
No, great answer. Not the first time it's come up, unsurprisingly. So thanks for being with us, Hutch, and thanks for everything that the Quality Federation is doing. I am jazzed, Governor. I am jazzed to introduce the 46th Governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers. Welcome, Governor.
Are you jazzed as hell? That's the question.
Jazzed as hell. Yep, someday we're going to play a game of euchre because I don't think we've ever had a chance to do that.
Yeah, I haven't played for a while, but love playing it. Actually, some people have been trying to talk me into the tournament they have down in New Glarus. And
Oh,
sometime I'll.
but that's in district. All right, we're going to talk to the office. We might that could be a lot of fun. Yeah. So, Ty, where do you start? Let's go present day, and then we're going to go backwards, if that's all right. Present day is you literally just announced that you weren't going to run for reelection. And there's no question in my mind, if you had run, you would have been reelected. You are the quintessential Wisconsinite, from your values to how you talk to, like I said, your euchre acumen. I mean, you are Wisconsin. Tell us about that decision. It had to be a tough one to not run for governor again.
Yeah, it was really hard, really, really hard. I loved what I do. I mean, I say this to people, and I don't think I'm stretching the truth too much, but I have loved every day of what I'm doing because first of all, it's important, but it's damn fun. I mean, you think about this, I go day by day, usually not in town here, but in Madison, but across the state, and do great things, listening to people. I mean, that's, I think, my best skill, frankly. And no, I love what I do. So it was really, really hard. But when you came right down to it, 50 years is a pretty long time to be doing anything. And I've been doing it for 50 years, starting out as a teacher and still working as hard as back then. And I just wanted time with my family.
Yeah.
So it was pretty simple, and yes, I agree with your analysis. I think I could have won easily, not easily. Nothing's easy in Wisconsin, but 3% is a landslide.
Right.
I could have maybe even gotten a little bit behind against that, but no, it was a tough decision. Under no circumstances did Kathy say, "Oh my God, if you run again, I'm going to go crazy." She loves being first lady, and so it was just the two of us sitting down saying, basically, what do you want to do for the rest of your life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's going to be like me, Kathy, 3 kids, 9 grandkids. That's
Right.
about it. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun every day, just like it is right now.
Yeah, well, you're owed it, and you've done a great job. And in fact, I want to talk about a number of the things that you've done, if I could, just because they're going to be a big imprint on the state, your legacy. And one of the things I think people will remember from the very first campaign on, I think, when you talked about the roads, and I believe what you said, quote, was "fix the damn roads," and you did just that. I think you repaired over 10,000 miles of roads, over 2,000 bridges since 2019. Tell us about that, because I mean, obviously that was something you heard and you delivered on.
Yeah, it's something that was kind of actually part and parcel of some of the stuff that was going on in the legislature before I became governor. I mean, first of all, I think legislators like to have that happen in their own districts so that they can talk about it also. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was kind of multi pieces there, because do you want to have safe roads? Hell yes. Do you want to be able to get your kids to and from school? Heck yes, without problems. And no matter what it was, people want good roads, and we're actually in a different world now. I mean, we have, and the Republicans have been very helpful on this one, agricultural roads, and there's lots of things going from from the farm to market all across the state, and I'll just put it in the context of agriculture. Whether it's animals, whether it's cheese, whether it's milk, whether it is whatever. And those roads haven't been touched. And frankly, townships have no money, or very little. And so the state has to play a role. And, those type of things are important to Wisconsinites to get, it's a safety issue, but it's also an economic issue. And so to me, it was a no-brainer, and it helped, fix the damn roads, and we did. I mean, have we finished it? No, but we're by the time we finish it, we have to start over again. So yeah. I mean, roads aren't, it's not like you fix a road and it's going to be done forever. So yeah, and people get it. People, in Wisconsin, we don't have many trains. And so people are going to be on the road, and that's how you get from point A to point B.
Yeah. And, if that's something tax dollars should go towards, right? It's not like the private sector is going to come in and do that. And,
Yeah, and Mark, you fix the roads, and that gives all sorts of people jobs to
new
fix the
opportunities.
roads. I mean, it's not like you can do it with a handful of people. You have to do it with a whole bunch of people, and it helps the economy, keeps people going.
Yeah. And then one of the most consequential things that I think you did, because it's probably the closest to your heart, was K to 12 education. You had a very creative use of a line item veto that extended that $325 per student funding increase until 24, 25, 400 years into the future. And it was upheld by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. So you got to share a little bit about that, Governor.
Yeah, well, it was something, and every budget we pass or sign or about to sign, we take a look at what options are there for a good veto, a thoughtful veto, a creative veto, and that was one of them. It just happened, and I'm sure the Republicans will never they learned a lesson there too. I think we won't be seeing anything like that in the future. But it was really important. It sends a message. I mean, is it a little playful in a way? Yes, it is. But it also sends a message that the public schools in the state of Wisconsin are kind of the basis for being successful, because a lot of people stay here after they graduate from high school or college, and so it sends a message that indeed the state has a role to play. This isn't always about what the school board does. Obviously, the school board, our members are really important people, but they can't do their job if we don't do ours. And we're still working at that, by the way. But it sends a message. Obviously, it provides some level of security there, and neither you or I will be around in 400 years, so we'll just hope for the best. But I think it's been good. We're still working on making sure that we don't have school districts going to referendum every year, and
Right.
that still hasn't been dealt with appropriately. But we're getting there. Everything's a step forward.
Yeah. Well, very few people, when they point to legacy, can say, well, I got 400 years something going forward. I mean, it was very creative, and it got a lot of national attention at the time. But, knowing your commitment to K to 12 education, your lifelong commitment, I mean, that had to have been especially especially special, right?
Yeah, it worked out. Let's put it that way. And it is something that's my background, and we have to do everything we can, and sometimes we can do more than others, but it's always a struggle, and it's a struggle worth having.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Also, you were instrumental in keeping the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee, right?
Amen. And I go back to the Milwaukee Braves, frankly, and I actually I have to say this. I just threw away this weekend. I had a Milwaukee Braves long sleeves T-shirt that had the entire team on it, names on the back, and I had to throw it away because if I wore it and washed it one more time, it's going to disintegrate.
That's what they have pay for.
Yeah, so it's in the garbage, unfortunately. But yes, and I go back that far just because I'm a huge baseball fan. It's one of my weaknesses, and I just love the Brewers when they came back to town. Now I have to tell you, I'll have to back up a second. When the Brewers before the Brewers came and after Milwaukee left, there's two teams in Chicago, the White Sox and the Cubs, and the Milwaukee powers to be went down to Chicago and said, can either of you play one game, or I think a couple games up in Milwaukee every year?
Yeah.
Well, the White Sox did it.
Okay.
The Cubs did not.
Okay.
And that's why the Pope is a White Sox fan. Just to tell you,
Connection. I like it.
it's about connecting the dots, Mark.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I think Milwaukee baseball is first of all, it's a fun deal. I get that, but I loved the way this came about because I was a big fan of the new stadium to begin with, because at the time I was living in Toma. And if you drive from Toma to Milwaukee to go to a game, and you drive 3 miles, and then as you're sitting in the parking lot getting ready to go to the game, they canceled because of rain. So you just get in your car and go back home. So there's 6 hours total, never see the game. So Milwaukee did the right thing, got the Brewers, brought the stadium there. It's a huge moneymaker for the state of Wisconsin, our economy. And yeah, we have to understand that we have a role in making it possible. Simple as that.
No, I mean, between the Brewers, the Bucks, and the Packers,
Yeah.
everyone pretty much in Wisconsin's got some great home teams. And
Yeah, I mean, just think of that.
yeah,
What pro teams does Iowa have?
right.
Nothing.
And Eric Hovde's got all these California teams to watch.
Yeah.
Different podcast.
Different podcast. That's right. You can talk to him about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. First of all, I love it, but second of all, it was the right thing to do for the people of Wisconsin, and bipartisan support. Everybody gets it, and so it was good.
Yeah. And, one of the big issues nationally that we talk about a lot in Congress and you talk about in the state is housing. You helped to build, I think, 17,000 affordable housing units since 2019, and you initiated a record investment in affordable housing. I think it's like $525 million in the 23-25 budget. Why was that important to you?
Well, again, it's a situation around, giving people a place to live. That's one. But just from a point of view of the economy, if you look at connecting the dots even for kids, let's just put it there. If you want a kid to be successful in school, he or she has to have a home,
right.
And if you want to have, so that's their angle. If you want to have a strong economy, and you need to have a place to live, and because your company you're working for, or if you're working for yourself, that's part of, you go home at night or you go home when you're not working. So it is important, and it is so difficult. I mean, this is a national issue, a national phenomenon. And I'm just glad we start out with 525 million. We're building, but even to set that aside, I won't say the name of the town. It's a town that has not that many people, probably maybe 9,000, maybe, in central Wisconsin, and has 3 large employers. Mm-hmm. Even before that $525 million, those 3 companies put their own money together and built affordable housing because that was the only way they were going to make their product. So it's one of those things that connect the dots. At some point in time, we're going to have, $525 million doesn't build it for everybody, but it was a good start and the right thing. And frankly, it just again sends a message that all these things are connected: schools, transportation, healthcare, you name it. And if we want to have a good quality of life in the state of Wisconsin, we got to deal with every one of those things.
Yeah, having the right values and knowing how to govern are how you've delivered all these things.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's the point. I mean, a lot of places.
You're not going to get me to say that.
No, but it's the truth. I mean, a lot of I hear a lot of people talk the talk on this stuff, and they never deliver on it in other states. And I'm proud of Wisconsin, but you have done all these things, and that's why I'm going to miss you so much as governor.
Yeah, I'm going to miss it. It's been a great run, but I'm going to miss it. It's things like this that get me up every morning. It's an important work, and people of Wisconsin need the best possible government and governor possible.
Yep. And you help raise the profile of issues like the workforce. I think 2024, you made the year of the worker. You launched teacher apprenticeship pilots. You had a health care task force to address that part of workforce. You boosted registered and youth apprenticeships, and the enrollment went way up. Talk about why you decided that 2024 was the year of the worker for Wisconsin.
Yeah, well, there are so many needs, especially in the apprenticeship, the training piece. We are short of workers all across the state of Wisconsin, no matter where you go, and so we felt that the importance of making sure that people are appropriately trained, and that was part of our focus. But I there was a couple of aha experiences I had that year too that really told me we were in the same right place. I was in Milwaukee, and I can't even remember the issue, but I think it might have been around bringing having more people in apprenticeships. And I was talking in Milwaukee on some sidewalk, talking about something with somebody, and this woman was climbing a tree next door. And she was arborist, one of the first arborists in woman arborists in the city of Milwaukee, and it was just like, hell yes, these apprenticeships are really important to get people at non-traditional positions. She was the first, and I'm betting, given her track record there, she is not the only one anymore. And I see that across the state. You look at some of the union training programs, and they are getting kids of color, people of color, young people of color, and it's such an important thing to talk about work and being prepared for work. And we're doing a great job. We're very fortunate in Wisconsin to have. First of all, the unions that we have, I can talk about that. Also, I mean, they do a great job training and preparing people, and we just had to do the right thing, and it was around training and primarily training, and we're making a good progress there. We have I have a lot of great all my people that work in leading some of these issues are really capable people, and we hit that one out of the park. It really was cool.
Now, and on the union side, the well-respected, registered apprenticeships, as opposed to some that we see some people advocating that don't have the same training and that ability to earn and learn. But the youth apprenticeship stuff, I know you've been super good to the Boys and Girls Club and other groups like that as well, that often do a lot of that type of work. I know Michael Johnson here in Madison, for example, but my friends at the Boys and Girls Club have often said how outstanding you've been to them.
Yeah, and you look at what they're all completing. My gosh, they're doing a great job having those apprenticeships going, and it takes good leadership on their part, but it also takes some money. You can't do this stuff for free, and it impacts our economy in the state. And so that's the thing. I'm not an economist by nature. I had an econ course at UW-Madison a gazillion years ago, and that's about it. But I can tell you, and I know you know this too, because you're a business person, and you're a good business person and a good legislator, and you see the difference when people are prepared for work, and it is just critically important. That's why I have to just say this in passing. You didn't bring it up, but we also have, one of the things that concerns me a lot is when we talk about what's happening in Washington, D.C. as it relates to people that are undocumented here in Wisconsin that are doing extraordinary work. It's just we just have to say we are very fortunate to have that workforce.
Yeah, no, This is now turning against the president, his rhetoric on that issue, because people believe in due process and they understand that in a lot of employment sectors, this is who's doing the hard work, and
Yeah,
so, yeah.
yeah,
Another thing for Wisconsin in my district, I hear this, and because outside of Dane County, I get very rural quickly.
right.
As you know, Lafayette County and one other county out of 72 are the only two counties in Wisconsin that don't have a stop and go light. Lafayette County is in my district, and a big issue is high-speed internet in a lot of these rural parts, and rail service. You helped launch for the first time in decades, but those were investments that people needed. Without internet, I mean, I go to Plain, Wisconsin in my district, and they said without the postal service and without internet, you're not in business. You can't have a community. You don't have jobs for people, but you did investments in those areas as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And high speed internet is not a luxury anymore. And I've talked to so many people as it's one of these things that are almost Wisconsin in nature. I'll never forget a couple of times. Once I was up in Viroqua, and the other one was even further north in Viroqua, small townships, and people get together and say, we have to do it. No one's going to do it for us. We have to do it. And they were just struggling to pull it together. And we put money out there through the government and through the through the government. Some of it came from DC, some of it was from here. But I'll tell you, it makes a difference in people's lives, whether it's school, whether it's work, whether it's just being able to live in society. Now you have to have it, and we got a ways to go. But I think we've done 400,000 or more households, and we'll get there. At some point in time, we'll get there. I mean, there are people that just are kind of off the grid.
Yeah.
Almost everybody else is, and it's important. And it's also obviously school during the pandemic, but it's also helpful in healthcare and a number of other areas that especially in rural Wisconsin, if you can have your appointment done via the internet, that's a good deal, and that's a healthy deal too.
Oh, absolutely. Especially we learned out of COVID, right? That telehealth.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, it matters. Yeah, I live in one of those towns. I think it was 4 or 5 years before we got it in the town of Vermont, thanks to grants from the state of Wisconsin. They did expansion into my area, but I had the Verizon Home Fusion satellite, and I think I got the half price sale, $3 a month for 80 measured gigs. And 1 hour on Netflix is 4.5 gigs. However it came out, it was $45 an hour, and there's no show on Netflix worth $45 an hour.
No kidding. Oh my God.
So those investments.
I'm glad things are working out for you.
Yeah, no. I love the town of Vermont, and we're glad. But
who supports you out there? I mean, who
TDS?
TDS. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out for Reedsburg Utilities too.
Oh, wonderful.
They took this on and did it the right way, and I don't know how far they spread, but they are a major player in Southwest Wisconsin. So, congratulations to them. I am very impressed with them.
Governor, I've seen maps of the internet coverage. When you look at Sauk County, everything around Reedsburg, the entire northwest part of, and then they have part of it going all the way to Baraboo. I think the city hall in Baraboo is under Reedsburg, perhaps. It used to be, I know. And there was a national story on that because they also own cable, internet, of course, water, electricity, and they have a booming business environment because of it.
Yeah, they've done it the right way. Really impressive.
Yeah. Now, this is very recent, but a couple of weeks ago, you just signed a $111 billion 2-year bipartisan budget. And in that process, something kind of unique happened. You saved the state $1 billion that we almost screwed up at the federal level. As the big ugly bill was coming through, there was a provision that would have taken away your ability to get a few more dollars for healthcare. You found a way, bipartisan, to get that done. In fact, some of the Senate and Assembly members were throughout the day as we were marking up the big ugly bill texting me, how much more time do we have? How much more time? And I think your state Senate got the bill done around 10:30, the state Assembly around 12:30, and I think by 1:30 in the morning you signed it and literally saved $1 billion for taxpayers. And yet one of my colleagues took credit for it. Sorry about that. You guys did all the heavy lifting. You figured out a press release.
Yeah, he got a press release out of it. Yeah, it was everybody, almost everybody in this building were, working on it. And I was so pleased because we had this nightmare a couple of years ago where two hospitals in the Eau Claire area kind of closed up shop, almost simultaneously. So we knew we couldn't go through that again. And I know if I heard any complaints about this, it was about, the big health care people shouldn't be getting money. They're already too rich, blah, blah, blah. Well, the bottom line is, if we don't have hospitals, we're kind of screwed. I mean, there's just no way else to describe that. And so we had an opportunity and we took it, and they had to pay a little bit more, but as a result of them paying a little bit more, we received from the federal government significant amount of money. And so I can't believe that there will be any hospitals closing in the near future. Now, is the healthcare system perfect right now? No, but I can't imagine. I mean, there were some of the larger hospital systems that were ready to go under, and now they are going to not go under. So it was hugely important. The Republicans worked hard on it. The Democrats worked hard on it, and I worked hard on it. So it was good. It was a good win. It's good
because of that big ugly bill. You're right. You would have had more rural hospitals and nursing homes closed down had you not done this.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Do something about that.
Oh my, I'll tell you, we're trying, but again, what you guys did, and I think you might have been the only state that got it done in the time limit too, because there wasn't much time. And again, you had to sign a bill at 1:30 because the next day Donald Trump was ready to do his.
Yeah, absolutely. We got it done, and it's going to have long-term positive results because of it.
Yeah, no, people have to have healthcare, and this bill is going to hurt a lot of people individually, but if we also hurt the very places they had to go to, that has the ripple effect of hurting other people. Right. One other thing that I think you're going to go down with in legacy is, we had a pretty gerrymandered state when it for a while under maps, and we passed fair maps, and thanks to you, we got fair maps, and we picked up a whole bunch of assembly seats and Senate seats for the Democrats because we are a purple state. It should look like the state looks like. There's a few more to pick up, but that was big. I mean, at a time of right now, we're watching states do just the opposite, the wrong thing.
Yeah, Texas, my God.
Right? Yeah, and you'd got the right thing done. And can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure, and it didn't have a uniform approval by my Democratic colleagues, but it was the right thing to do. We had different options, and I don't want to get into all that detail, but it was the right thing to do. We got it done. We got the legislature to approve it, and it has been. I mean, there's a reason why this last budget was kind of a bipartisan thing. Mm-hmm. We had Republicans and Democrats both supporting it, and that's the way it's going to look going forward too. I think the Democrats have an opportunity to win both houses. At one assembly, will be a little different just because it's more people. But the good news is that it compels people to work together a little better. And, I remember you when you were on Joint Finance Committee, that's how it worked, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to work again. Now, I will say that it is one of the things we haven't done. I would love to get done before we have to get a process for doing this, like a bipartisan group or whatever group it would be to take this on. Because if it becomes just, well, if the legislature and the governor agree, then we're going to do it. Well, I think there's probably better ways. I know Iowa has a system, some other stuff that has a system. We have to have a system. I mean, we kind of, in the glow of getting this done, we thought about it then, and it was just too late to get something going. But we need some kind of panel to do this work, and that's important.
Yeah, the citizens panel in Iowa, when you look at the congressional districts, always at least 3 or 4 are competitive.
Yeah, instead, we'll have Trump calling people here and saying, well, we need 5 more people, do something, change the maps because I called you.
Yeah.
My God, give me a break.
And one of the other things that I respected the most that you did so often was you used your veto to match your values, to match our values as Wisconsinites. And, you had a highly partisan GOP majority for most of the time that you were governor. You vetoed bills where they had tax cuts for the wealthiest folks and not everyone. You vetoed bills that banned trans girls from playing in sports and going after diversity, equity, inclusion restrictions because you think everyone should have a fair chance. And that takes a lot of guts in a purple state governor. And you did that. What brought you to do all those things? I mean, I know why, but share it with others.
Yeah, it's part of my DNA. I mean, I grew up with parents that believe that, and I'm married to a person that believes it, and I have kids that believe it. So it is part of my DNA, and it's a scary time right now. I can tell you that, but making sure that that people are treated well in our state, that we're a welcoming state, and so there's just no question. I have a hard time just doing anything but kind of stuttering on this one because it's just part of who I am.
Yeah.
So,
but it takes guts. It takes guts. A lot of governors don't have guts.
Yeah, but they should. I mean,
I know. Yes.
That's a sin.
No, but that, again, something I really appreciate about how you've used your tenure as governor. Anything else that you're really proud of that you want to highlight for folks? I mean, you've done a lot. I try to hit a lot of different areas, but is there anything that you're especially proud of that I didn't mention?
Well, there's all sorts of things that we did, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and just say this has been just a unbelievable experience for me. As I said before, I loved every day of it, and we're in a better place, and that gives me great pleasure because it could have been something different, and there's all sorts of things we have to do. We have to be a little more union friendly in our state. I think we are union friendly, but there's bills that were passed in the past that we have to address. No, there's lots of highlights, but the most important one to me is that the people of Wisconsin really are unbelievably kind, thoughtful people. And I don't care if we're Republican or Democrat, we really are. And so it was good. Did we do everything right? Hell no. And I'd be the first to admit that. But we've done a lot of good things over a period of time. You look at the last budget. This is the first time we've helped childcare in the state of Wisconsin with state money. The first time. You think about something, connect that to a workforce.
Yeah.
If you can't afford or you don't have childcare, somebody in that household, man or woman, is mom or dad is going to not go to work, even though they want to go to work.
Yeah.
And so there's just some basic things that we've been able to put in place so that the people of Wisconsin can have the best life possible. And a lot of good people in the state. That's what keeps me going. I was in 2 places today, and everybody was, concerned about what's happening at the federal level, believe me.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is our economy is strong, and our workforce is strong, and our kids are getting a good education. The UW system is doing as well as they can under the circumstances. So I feel our state is in a good place. I hope I played some role in that. I can tell you that there's all sorts of people I work with in the governor's office that do a lot of good work. But I am fortunate to be governor I will be 8 years, and I loved every minute of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up the childcare, because, when we had the SBA administrator a number of years ago come visit Madison, we had a bunch of business folks, chamber folks. Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce did a survey, and the number one thing their manufacturers wanted for employment was childcare.
Yeah.
So, this is said very good.
And we've actually reduced taxes too.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing
Not
that
just for the wealthy. That's the point too.
Yeah, no kidding. Middle class people that struggle need the help they can get. So feel good about that.
So one final question. What advice do you have for any of the many people I think they're going to wind up running for governor in both parties and maybe independents? What's your advice?
Yeah, that's a great question, because when I first ran and won, I've had 5 straight wins in statewide elections, and it's been a trick, but a lot of help. I had 20 people at one time running against me or with me to replace Scott Walker. 20. Wow. Yeah. I have to tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
The very first event was up in Eau Claire. I think it was at the I can't remember what building it was, but it doesn't make any difference. There's 20 of us there. Mm-hmm. This one guy was sitting next to me, and he didn't look familiar. And after a while, I said, I'm Tony Evers, and blah, blah, blah. And who are you? And he said, I'm Joe Blow from, I think he said, Superior. I said, oh, really? Why are you running? He said, well, I'm really a Republican. I'm running against Scott Walker. So he showed up for a Democrat.
Wow.
Yeah, he felt that Walker was too liberal. And
liberal. Yes.
Yes. And so I never heard from him since. But what was your question?
The advice to people running.
God. Be yourself. Don't be a smart ass, and don't spend any time cutting down your primary opponents. Mm-hmm. Zero. And never do that. And it happens. Believe me, it happened to me that time around. But you focus on the other side and focus on what you're going to do for people. But you also have to give people a sense, you have to be right on the issues, but and I sound corny here, but you got to show some heart. You got to show who you are. You got to think about who brought you into this world and taught you how to be a good Wisconsinite. And, people need to know that. People need to know that you're not a jackass behind the scenes. And hopefully I accomplish that.
No, you led by example, Governor. If they just follow that, they're going to be wise to move forward.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you so much, Governor. If people want to follow your office, do you know your social media offhand? Otherwise, we'll add it to the end. I don't even know if you have all your...
I can't tell you.
No problem. We're going to throw that on so they can follow you. But I'm guessing most people are following you already that are listening to this podcast. But
you never know. But we'll get the information to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it as always, and thanks for your service. And thanks to Kathy too. I know our spouses put up with a lot more. They didn't sign up for this directly enough, and they pay some of the prices of it. And she's always been amazing as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. No,
yeah,
it's been a real trip for me. And can I just mention one other thing?
yeah, please.
One of the things that I guess I wouldn't say I'm most proud of, but we started this every summer. We have and we'll have to get you to the next one, or somebody will have to get you to the next one. It's we bring in a whole bunch of refugees from the state that are living in the state of Wisconsin. Every summer we do this, a one night thing. They come in, we talk together, and so on. And if you go to that,
Yeah.
you will realize what Wisconsin is going to look like in 10 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And it is an amazing thing. They're all good people. They're working their tails off, coming from every country in the world. They're coming to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I told this guy, this group this year when I was talking to him, this is the highlight of the year for every year. So sometime we'll have to get you to the next one.
Yeah, no, please. I'd love to have the invite.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much, Governor, for being with us. And again, thanks for all your service.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Take care.